great day, people. I've just been grooving to this music today. Don't you like it? All right. All right. All right. All right. We're going to play that in the background just a little bit because I like that. We're going to see if we can get that to play in the background a little bit today. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful day, great day to all of my amazing family and friends that are out there. It's another beautiful day. Welcome to another episode of WWDJ, Wealth and Wellness with Demetrea Janay, where we talk wealth and wellness for the betterment of our community. Last week we dove into fasting. And I hope you guys were able to take away. Let me see if I can turn this down just a little bit. I can turn that. Let me turn that down a little bit. Here we go. That's good. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. So last week we delved into fasting and we talked about, excuse the camera today. I got a little weird movement going on today. So if I look a little weird, don't mind it because I don't know. It's technology, right? So fasting is what we discussed last week, and we kind of just went over some of the benefits of being able to have your body reset. But more importantly, I wanted to discuss how your body would possibly respond so that you won't actually feel caught off guard, bombarded, or kind of freaked out even regarding the bodily effects that your body goes through. So we talked about headaches being one. We talked about migraines even coming after the headaches. We talked about having body aches. Okay, like the body will really go through a phase because it's detoxing. It's removing and eliminating all of the waste that and toxins that are within inside of your body. We can detox a plethora of things. There are so many things that we put into our bodies that we're unaware of. Okay, so that was what we discussed last week. If you didn't get a chance to check out the episode, be sure to check out episode 2 of WWDJ, Wealth and Wellness with Demetrea Janay. That is on the Paradigm Network where you are here now. So today I want to discuss some of the things that we put into our bodies that causes us to have to fast. So maybe I should have did this episode first before I did fasting, but hey, that's just the way it turned out. Okay. So we want to talk about processed foods today. Yeah, that monster, that word. Processed foods are everywhere. And as I've discussed previously in another episode, there are some processed vegan foods as well. We have to be mindful of what's out there, what they are promoting and putting into our foods that we are then putting into our systems that causes us to have to fast. All right, so processed foods where? And we can even go, we can start with fast foods. Of course, most all fast foods are strictly processed foods, meaning that it's not an actual, for the most part, it's not a real food. Or there's some added preservative to it that causes it to not be real. Let me see if I can find an actual definition of what a processed food is. It says food processing is a transformation of agricultural products into food or in one form of food into other forms. Food processing includes many forms of processing foods, from grinding grain to making raw flour to home cooking to complex individual methods used to make convenience of food. That doesn't even look like a real definition of what processed food is that we eat. I don't know about that, but we do know that processed foods are not good for our systems because they're not coming from the soil in which it should be coming from. Okay, whether it's the soil, whether it's a tree, it's not coming from its natural source. It's made in a lab somewhere, in a factory somewhere, and they've added things. These are chemical compounds formed together, put together to form some type of product that we call food. Okay, so what are some of the side effects of having processed foods? Well, we know that it causes bodily harm to us just because our body is going to go through different effects of it. But we have to understand that labeling is important, because even when we buy things in the grocery store, there are so many things that have a label on it that says bioengineered products are contained in this, or is an ingredient. Bioengineered ingredients are part of this product. What does bioengineered mean? That means that it's not something natural that's in this particular ingredient, that's an ingredient in this particular food that you're eating, which means it's man-made. So if you go get a hamburger meat, let's just say you go get hamburger meat, right? And for some reason you don't get like the raw hamburger meat. Maybe it's in, let's do frozen patties. All right, let's do that. Let's go frozen patties. You have to check those labels. You have to check those labels, because processed foods, processed ingredients are in so many of our foods. I'm gonna use bread for an example. Maybe I'm the only one experiencing this, but bread doesn't mold anymore. Anybody else having that problem? You can have bread sitting on your counter for 2 months and it will not mold. And it probably won't even really be that hard. That was one of the first signs that I knew, oh, they've done something to the bread. They've added some type of ingredient to the bread that now makes the bread last longer than it's supposed to. Bread is not supposed to last 2 months. Bread is not supposed to last a month. Bread is not supposed to last 3 weeks. There's like yeast and eggs and things in bread. I think I don't make bread, but I know it's some dairy products in there that should not be on the counter for 3 weeks or more. So my question is, what are they putting in the bread that's causing it to last as long as it does, where it's like the same thing that whatever McDonald's does? Because McDonald's food doesn't even digest in your system. It just sits there forever. Kind of like corn does. Corn doesn't digest in your system. You will poop out a kernel of corn. So I'm just saying that to say processed foods are everywhere. Processed foods are what is the cause for so many diseases within our body. And if you study, if you do your work, and if you study a little further, you will see how some of these chemicals that are in our foods that are causing it to be processed are actually some of the mainstream diseases that are within that plague our family and for generations. We have to be mindful of those things. One thing I often see a lot that people we all struggle with as a community. You know, cancer it's rampant, like in every community. Like cancer does not discriminate. I lost both of my grandparents to different forms of cancer, more than one cancer, because it started spreading. So please understand it hits home. But I also understand that there are contributing factors to cancer. That all of us actually have cancer cells within our bodies. But it's all about what we put in our bodies that activate these cancer cells. That's what a lot of people don't understand. So when we have our t-shirts, our banners, our hats, and we saying, you know, skip cancer, bump cancer, F cancer, all of that, we have to say skip the ingredients, skip the food, bump the ingredients that causes cancer. That's the truth about it. That we are a contributing factor to some of these so-called diseases that we obtain. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes. We know that those are food-borne diseases. So that means that we have to take accountability and responsibility to not contribute to those diseases, because those foods do not serve our bodies. I would even go further to challenge you to start paying attention to your frame of words, because certain things that we call food is not actually food. Food is something that is nutrient based to your body. So if you're eating something that does not contain any nutrients and does not serve your body in any way, you're not actually eating food. So we have to first, again, I started off the episode starting off talking about our mindsets and our words. It's a mindset shift. When you have the mindset shift, you can change your words. When we're eating fast food, we're not eating food. We're just putting something into our bodies. There's nothing nutrient dense about fast food. When we're eating a bunch of junk We're not eating food. We're just putting something in our body. We're just satisfying our taste palate. I will go as far as to say. Until you're eating something from its natural source, something that has nutrients in it that's going to actually serve the cells in your body, that's when you're actually eating food. So it's a mindset shift that we have to consider and do our due diligence of researching these things and studying the things that we consider food that's really not food. It's just satisfying our taste palate. So back to the processed foods that we were talking about. We have to get back to the garden. I would encourage you, even if it's just one or two things, I would encourage you to get back to the garden or buying whole foods. There's whole food stores. You have stores like Trader Joe's. You really have to look at the ingredients when you go into these type of stores, and you will see that there's not a lot of bioengineered ingredients in the food that they sell. Whole Foods. And I'm not referring to the actual store Whole Foods. I'm just saying actual Whole Foods. We have to get back to the basics. If we want to save ourselves, save our families, save our communities, we have to get back to the basics. Does it take longer? Absolutely. But we live in a society where everything is microwavable. We want everything so fast. And I can only speak from experience because I used to be the same exact way. I wanted everything done fast and convenient. Convenience costs you in the long run. Convenience now means dis-ease in the long run. Convenience now means heart disease in the long run. Convenience now means high blood pressure in the long run. So is it really convenient? I want long-term convenience, not temporary convenience. Like I want long-term money, not temporary money. It's all about a shift in our mindsets, guys. We really have to know that we are worth it. Our families are worth it. Our legacies are worth it. Our community is worth it. You just got to chop a couple of vegetables every now and then. My brother made a joke about me before because I was making dinner one day and I was one of my favorite vegetables to eat is kale. I love kale. And because kale is prone to have is sprayed the most as far as with herbicides, unless you can get it organic, and even if it's organic, I still clean my vegetables anyway. But he seen me soaking them and massaging them, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm massaging my kale to release the fiber so that it's not as stiff when I try to eat it." Huh. And he said, "Well, if anybody has to actually clean and massage their food, it must be good for them." I thought it was pretty funny because I knew what he was trying to say. But I believe that he's worth it and I'm worth it. He enjoyed it because he ate it. So he got the benefits of being a part of that. But understanding that taking the extra time out to serve your body, something that really aligns with your anatomy, that's long-term care. That's self-care. That's self-love. We got to get back to the basics. We have to get back to the garden. We have to stop wanting such microwavable. I don't mean actual microwave foods. I just mean things that are so convenient that it's not really true almost that it's really good for us. I heard there was like some National Hamburger Day or something last week, or National Cheeseburger Day. And from what I understand, the fast food chain restaurants were offering burgers at very, very low prices. Anything that's good for you gonna cost you a little bit of something. But you gotta know that you're worth the cost. You gotta know that you're worth the cost. That's what it all boils down to. Everybody always says, it costs too much money to eat healthy. You're worth it. You're worth those extra dollars. Not the fact that the establishment that's charging it is charging too much. You're worth it because I'm quite sure we've spent too much money on other things that we didn't need outside of the food industry. So I just want you to know that you're worth it when it comes to providing yourself with nutrient-based foods. If you want to live a healthy lifestyle, if you don't want the sluggishness, if you don't want the stomach aches, if you don't want the GERD, if you don't want the diarrhea, if you don't want the constipation, if you don't want the headaches, if you don't want the migraines, if you don't want the dis-ease, if you don't want the cancer, if you don't want any other ailment or disease that could possibly be there, I encourage you to study those diseases that are caused by foods, because a lot of them are. They're food-based diseases. Now, there are some, of course, that some cancers come from chemicals, and there's chemicals all around us. I'm in the Michigan area. Chemicals in the air. You have chemtrails. You have chemicals everywhere. Chemicals that you uh, wash your clothes in, wash your dishes in, clean your house with. There are natural remedies for these things. Everything that you look at for a cleaning product has some type of lemon in it or has some type of vinegar in it. So I think that lemon and vinegar can clean your house just as fine. So it's just something for you to think about. Processed foods. What is food? What is going into your body? How does it make you feel? Have you ever given your body an alternative to processed foods to even know how your body will respond and how you would feel and how you would operate if you ate something from its natural source instead of processed foods? What are you feeding your children? These are the questions that I challenge you to ask yourself, because you're worth it. Your family's worth it. Your legacy's worth it. So that'll be the health portion, the wellness portion for today. Now, we always have to talk about a little bit of wealth as well. I know I discussed in the first episode that I actually used to do credit. I didn't really go into a lot about it, but I know that that's something that's a day-to-day concern for a lot of people, and it's something that people just deal with on a day-to-day basis. So I want to take a few minutes today to actually discuss credit with you guys. Again, I was in the credit, still do it, not as often, as frequently as I did before, but I was doing credit for 4 years, assisting people with getting credit scores higher, establishing credit, or building credit. Because there is a difference. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. You have people that need to establish credit. So I'm going to start off talking to my people that need to establish credit. What does that mean? Establish credit means you pretty much just don't exist to the credit world. You have no type of credit. There's nothing showing that you've ever had to have the responsibility of taking care of anything. So what do you do with that? These are my clients that are in a sweet spot, because you get a fresh start. Okay, no, it can be a little more daunting to have to repair your credit than it is for you to establish credit. So I'm going to actually give you guys a couple of tips and sites that you can actually utilize to establish and help build your credit score. I'm only specifically talking about my people right now that need to establish. Again, they have no credit, they don't exist for the credit world, or they have some. You can not have credit, but actually have a decent credit score just simply because you don't have a lot of credit. You may have one thing. Maybe you bought a car. Or maybe you were renting somewhere or something like that, right? So those type of people have the chance to either one piggyback. Piggybacking is when you're an authorized user on someone else's credit card. Now let me talk about that for a second, because I've seen people get on other people get on people's credit card as an authorized user, but they don't know if that person is responsible when they pay their bills on time. That's a red flag. You want to vet these people out that you're actually trying to authorize, that you're trying to get on their card as an authorized user. Why? Because whatever happens to their credit is going to happen to your credit as well. So if they don't pay their bills on time, that negative score is now going to affect you. That hit that they take, you're now going to take that hit as well. And that's not the purpose of being an authorized user on someone's credit card. So if you decide to be on someone's authorized user on someone's credit card, you want to make sure that the card has been established for at least 10 years. I would say a minimum of $10,000 for the credit card max, because that's going to help you with your credit utilization. They'll be able to have more room to use it. They need to have had the card for a minimum of 5 years. Okay, between 5 and 10 years is where you want them to have had the card, and you need to know that they have never missed a payment on that card. That is something you need to be asking. Lastly, something that I learned when I first started trying to establish or build my own credit years ago I did ask someone, a good friend of mine, if I could be an authorized user on their card, and they did so. And I kept checking my credit score, and nothing was ever happening. Well, it turns out not everyone reports to the credit bureau. So you have to be sure that the card that they're putting you on reports to the credit bureaus, because it could be a bank card. Okay. Some bank cards do not report to the credit bureaus. Now, if it's like a Discover card, your Visa, your Master, things like that, then absolutely they're reporting. So you want to find out um, if the person has had the card between 5 and 10 years. Is the credit max on the card a minimum of $10,000? You need to find out if they have ever been more than 30 days late on their payment. And you need to find out if and who does the credit card report to. It may not report to all three bureaus, so that is something you need to find out. All right. So that's authorized user, also known as piggybacking. It's a great method for people that are trying to establish credit, as well as my people that are trying to repair their credit as well. They can also do that, and finding a trustworthy person to get on their credit card and get that same benefit that the other person is getting. What that does is it allows you to open an account on your credit report. It allows you to have on-time reporting, and it shows healthy credit utilization. You want to make sure that that person is not using it more than 30% of that credit utilization, or you will see some up and down effects of your credit score. Because again, your credit score is going to not your credit score, but your credit is going to be a mirror to what that person does with that credit card. All right, so that's piggybacking. That is one way to establish and help build your credit. Another thing that you can do for my people that are trying to build credit, a lot of people pay rent. There are not a lot of homeowners that are usually, if you own a home, then you have some type of credit. So if you're establishing credit, trying to get known to the credit world, you more than likely do not have any type of mortgage that you're paying, and you're probably paying rent somewhere. With that being said, there are third party companies that you can utilize to report your rent. Now, I've been doing this for years. I've had a plethora of clients that have utilized this tool, and it has helped them with their credit score. It has helped me. I used it for about 4 years at two different locations where I live until I bought my home. And so with that, if you are paying rent at an apartment, if you live with a family member or a friend and you pay rent to them, you can still report this to the credit bureaus and get credit for it. Rent is probably the biggest bill that you have, yet it's the only bill that you're not getting credit for. So why not? Because what's going to happen is if you're more than 30 days late, they're going to sell that to a collection, and then it's going to be in your report. So why not get the betterment of paying your rent on time and getting that reward rather than only getting the punishment if you're more than 30 days late? So I'm going to share with you a website that you can utilize if you are, again, paying rent to anyone. For my parents out there that want to help their kids establish and build credit, if you have a child living in your home, you can still also use this as well. And so it is, the name of the website is rentalkarma.com. That's RENTAL Karma, KHAR, M as in Marie, A. That's rentalkarma, one word.com. You can utilize that website, and you can actually do back pay, meaning that you can report rent that was paid years ago. So if you've been at your apartment, townhome, wherever you live for the past 4 years, you can report that and then continue reporting every month. I recommend doing this as long as you're paying rent. There's no reason for you not to report your rent if you're paying on time. Now, if you are more than 30 days late on your rent, I do not recommend you using this method, because then it will negatively affect your credit score. Okay. But if you are an on-time, payment payer for your rent, now I noticed I said more than 30 days late. Well, why did I, specify that? Because your company that you pay rent to they have a different late fee than the credit bureaus. Okay. Nothing can be reported to the credit bureau unless it's more than 30 days late. Any establishment or institution that you owe money to, they usually have a 5-day grace period or 10-day grace period. And then after that grace period, you have a late fee. They can charge you the late fee, but they still cannot report it until it's more than 30 days late. Then they have the legal right to go ahead and report it to the credit bureaus, and they're just selling it to a collection agency, and then that's when you're able to, you'll see it on your credit report. So again, rentalkarma.com is the website. You can utilize that tool to establish credit. If you are married and you're paying rent together, even if you're not paying rent, your husband paid rent, your wife, your girl, your man, whoever, both of you guys need to report that so you both get the benefits. You're both living in the home. There's a spouse or partner option on the website for you to include them. The fee is a little bit higher. You pay one initial fee that's a little higher, and then you pay month to month. I don't think it's more than $10 for a single person. It may be a little more if you're paying for a couple. So that's a great tool for you to utilize and get credit for paying your rent. Again, long as you're no more than 30 days late. I'm also going to give you guys a discount code because I love you guys and I appreciate you being here, tuning in and listening to me and giving these tips and tricks on how you can better your health and your wealth. So discount code is my last name, Sherelle, S is in Sam, Herr like Robert, ILL 88. Again, that's Sherelle 88, no spaces, no dashes. Sherelle 88 is the discount code that you can use, and it'll get you a discount on that initial fee. It will not get you a discount for the month-to-month fee that there is with Rental Karma, but it will get you a discount on the initial fee that you pay to be a part of the program. All right. So paying your rent, second option for you to be able to establish as well as rebuild your credit. What is another way for you to build credit? I like to utilize a tool called Self Lender, which I'm sure a plethora of people have seen YouTube commercials or TV commercials about Self Lender. And then again, maybe you haven't. Maybe you're like me and you don't watch a lot of TV, but they interrupt my YouTube channel a lot when I'm trying to watch a YouTube video. So I'm going to give you guys a code that you can use for Self Lender. But first, let me tell you what Self Lender is. Self Lender is a third-party platform that allows you to put your money into a savings account. It's going to automatically draft it. You have to attach a bank card or a bank account. You're going to pick the amount of money that you would like for it to withdraw. I think it starts at a minimum between 15 and 25. It's either 15 or 25 is the minimum that they would deduct from your checking account. What then happens is once it deducts, it goes into a savings account. It's going to deduct this every single month. You get to choose how long you want it to deduct between 1 year and I believe 5 years. I believe are the three options. I believe it's 1, 2, and 5, if I'm not mistaken. But you have different options of how long you want to do this plan with them. I always suggest if you are establishing or rebuilding, or you do not have a good, healthy credit length, you need to do at least 2 years. You need to allow this money to be put up every month for at least 2 years. It's going to open up a new account on your credit report. It's going to increase your credit age. That's the word I was looking for. Your credit age. Credit age is important regarding your credit report. Okay. If you don't have a good credit age, a healthy credit age is a minimum of 7 years. And I'll talk about that in a second. So Self Lender. Open the account. You choose the amount of money you want to have deducted. You choose how long you like to have the money deducted for, 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years. And then it's going to go into that savings account deducting monthly. What's going to also happen is they're going to report that deduction every month to the credit bureau. Now, from my understanding, the last time I was a part of Self Lender, they were only reporting to TransUnion. That may have changed. They may be doing TransUnion and Equifax, maybe two. But not everything reports to all three bureaus. And that's a whole other part I'll try to get all into this discussion as well. Okay. So once you select how long you want it to deduct, it's going to report to the credit bureaus. That account will be locked. You will not have access to the money. But what's great about it is after you accumulate a certain amount of money, they're going to offer you a credit card. Take it, but don't use it. I don't even know where my card is. I don't think I ever even opened it out the mail. But I have that card on my account and I don't use it. Now, if you choose to use it, I would say use a very minimum. Choose one thing to buy once a month, pay it back down, and that's it. Again, the platform that I'm referring to is Selflender, SELFLENDER, selflender.com. Platform that allows you to save your money, but they will report it as a personal loan. So you're opening up a quote unquote personal loan, but you're really just putting your money into a savings account. And then you're able to get your report updated on a monthly basis because it's showing, hey, this person is making on-time payments. We'll automatic withdrawals. Don't get no more on time than that. All right. So Selflender, that is a great tool for you to use. I'm going to see if I have a discount code for you guys. One second. Let's see. Doesn't look like I have a discount code for that. However, Selflender, I highly recommend it. If you have any questions about it or want me to send you the link, you can always email me at demetriasherrill@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to answer any other questions for you regarding Selflender or Rental Karma. And you can go from there. Those two are definitely highly recommended for you to build your credit, paying your rent on time, getting credit for it, and using Selflender. All right. So regarding credit, it was a few things that I mentioned when I was talking about that I want to go over. Like I mentioned with Selflender and Rental Karma, they don't report to all three credit bureaus. When you look at your credit score, you will know that you have 3 different credit scores. Well, why is that? Because not everything gets reported to all 3 bureaus. Well, why is that? The companies that report your financial information to the credit bureaus, they have to pay a fee for that. So it costs them to report these things. So they won't always pay the fee to have it reported to all 3 bureaus, let alone being able to have it consistent across the board. So that's why you're going to have 3 different credit scores, because one company may only report it to 1 bureau or maybe 2. So you will see certain things in your credit report that'll be on one and not the other, or it'll be on 2 and not the other. I usually typically, when I do my consultations, I always have people get a Credit Karma account for me to be able to see their account. One thing I like to tell people is that I don't look at Credit Karma to see your credit score. Credit Karma uses the Vantage 3.0 credit score, and that is not an accurate credit score. It's usually off anywhere between 20 to 40 points, give or take whatever you see on the actual platform. Okay. Your FICO score is what, when they're pulling, you want to get a mortgage and things like that, they're pulling that FICO score. There are some places that may, depending on, like, maybe, I don't know if you're going to get an Old Navy credit card or something, they may pull your Vantage score. But a FICO score is is the score that you want to know the accuracy of. And you can go to Experian.com to get your FICO score. They'll only give you Experian. You can go to myfico.com. That'll give you your Equifax score. And then typically, if you have some type of credit card, or if you bank with a credit union, they will usually provide you with your TransUnion score every now and then. You may, on a credit card, I know that you can get your FICO TransUnion score if that's what they report. You can get that on a monthly basis, if I'm not mistaken. I know that I get mine on a monthly basis with my Discover card. So just ask these questions. Ask your banking institution, hey, do you guys offer a free credit report? Do you offer at least for one of the 3? Know what your score is. Know how to look at your credit score. Know what's negatively and positively affecting your credit score, so that you know what it is that you need to do to obtain the goals that you're trying to reach. All right. So with that being said, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian are the 3 main credit bureaus, and they don't all reflect the same thing. Okay, so back to what I was saying regarding Credit Karma. When I use Credit Karma, when I do my consultations, I'm usually only using that so that I can see the actual accounts that are on my clients' reports that's negatively or positively affecting them. And we come up with a game plan based on the accounts that I see. I'm able to see credit utilization. I'm able to see payment history. I'm able to see credit age. All those things matter with regards to if you're trying to build credit, if you're trying to establish, if you're trying to repair credit. What I'm also going to go over with you guys is for those that um, don't really know what makes up a credit report. Let me pull that up here. Because it's supply your payment history that makes up so much of your credit report. Most people don't understand. That's how when you are missing payments, that more than 30-day payments, and you're letting stuff go to collections and things like that, it can be daunting getting it off if you don't know the appropriate process to do it. Now there are laws out there that can assist people with getting things removed, because there is no law stating that anything actually has to be removed. Understand this: credit bureaus are just regular companies. They're not government entities. I think because it says bureau on the end, a lot of people think they're like government entities, but they're just three regular different type of companies that somebody decided to establish to be able to report when you're not taking care of your financial responsibilities, and now they're just making money off of it. Okay, think of it as T-Mobile, Sprint, and Verizon. Are those three different companies still? Or are they like T-Mobile and Sprint the same company? I don't know. At one point, T-Mobile, Sprint, and Verizon were three different companies. And what happens is, just like T-Mobile, Sprint, and Verizon offer the same product, the very same, they all sell cell phones, the same kind of cell phones. Their service is what's different. That's the same thing with TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. They're all three different companies that do the same exact thing, but not everybody utilizes it. That's really all it is. All right. So I want to tell you what makes up your credit history. So 35% is going to be payment history. So anytime you have a late payment, that more than 30 days late, and it gets reported, you're going to see a major hit in your credit score. Anywhere between, I've seen between 30 and 80 points, possibly even more, depending on maybe what the amount is or what the account is for. So 35% of your credit report is made up of payment history. Okay. 15% is going to be the length of credit history. Now, your length of credit history, that's more like your credit. You want to say like a credit mix. Let me see. So credit history length. How long have you had these accounts? That's going to be your I guess you can say your credit age is the word I'm looking for. That credit age makes a big difference. And then 30% is your outstanding debt. 10% is your credit mix. But what is a credit mix? Credit mix means you have revolving credit, and then you have non-revolving credit. That's important. What different types of accounts do you have open? Do you have a mortgage? Do you have a personal loan? Do you have an auto loan? Do you have a mortgage? All the different things that you can possibly have. Do you have a credit card? It's not just one thing. It's not just a credit report full of student loans. At one point when I graduated from college, the only thing I had on my credit report was student loans. My mix was horrible. I had no mix. It just showed that I had student loans that I was not paying. So I had to fix that. So once I got a car and I had an auto loan, once I then got a personal loan, once I then got a credit card, once I then got a mortgage. So now I have this beautiful mix on my credit report showing that, hey, I'm in the financial world and I'm showing responsibility with the things that I'm borrowing from these institutions, and you can give me more credit. That is how the wealthy get wealthy. They don't use their own money. They use the bank's money when the bank's money is not their own money. The bank's money is your money. So other people are using other people's money. That's called OPM. Okay, you use other people's money to get what you need to get, and then you just pay that back, and you just keep recycling it over and over and over and over again. That's how that works. All right. So lastly, you have another 10% of the new credit. Excuse me. Now your credit utilization. Let me actually do that credit utilization, because the credit utilization, that's so important. Credit utilization. Let's see. That's going to be a part. Oh, that's part of the debt I was talking about. So with your credit utilization, when you have credit utilization, that's a credit card using over 30% of the credit max amount, will take a negative effect on your score if you don't decide to pay it back down before your statement date. All right. So that is highly important. Knowing how the pie chart works, you can always Google a pie chart for your credit, a credit report to know what part is affecting it, how much is affecting it. Then you can start making goals and plans of how to obtain those goals. I like to use the example when I play Candy Crush. I only play it when I get ready to go to bed. It's my way of getting ready to fall asleep. If I don't know what the goal is at the top, I'm just playing to play. I'm working hard, but working hard at the wrong thing. If I'm supposed to get 86 of those little squares completed, but I'm just making sure that I get all the yellows and the greens and I'm never actually on the side, I'm working hard at the wrong thing. I can't, until I know what the goal is, until I look at the top of my phone and I see what the goal is for this particular level, everything that I do is in vain if I don't know what the goal is. Now, granted, yes, sometimes you may not know what the goal is and you hit the goal. But ultimately, if you want to be successful, you have to have a plan and a goal to obtain. So look at your goal. Know what it is. Do your research. Find out what it is you have to do to obtain the goal that you're trying to reach. And then you create a strategic plan. If you need assistance with that, you know you can always contact me. Again, my email, Demetrea Sherrill, first and last name, at gmail.com. You can always reach me by phone at 313-895-7565. Any questions that you have regarding credit, I will be able to assist you in any way, form, or fashion. And if I don't have the answer, I have no problem going to get it and bringing it back to you. I don't profess to know everything, but what I do know, I share with my community. Because what good is the information for me just to have for myself? I'm trying to help build myself, my family, my legacy, and my community. So I'm here to share the information that I do know. So be sure that you go to Rental Karma. Again, if you pay rent at an apartment, or if you live with a family member and you pay them rent, or even if you don't pay them rent, and they're willing to say that you do pay rent, that works too. Rental Karma, RentalKharma.com. Discount code that I'm offering to you guys with that, because there's a first time initial fee and then there's a month-to-month fee. It is very low. Don't be afraid to just at least look at it. You can afford it every month. Pay this until you decide to get a mortgage. And if you move, you want to continue, call them up, let them know, hey, I moved, transfer my address. Get the credit for the hard work that you're doing. Get the credit for being responsible and paying your bills on time. Because again, if you don't pay your bills on time, they're going to make sure they report that. And then it's going to negatively affect you. So rentalkarma.com is the website. Discount code is my last name, Sherrill88. No space, no dash, just Sherrill88. And that will get you a discount on the initial fee that you pay to be a part of Rental Karma. I also discuss Self Lender. That's SELFLENDER.com. Self Lender is a savings account tool that allows you to put your money to the side, save your money for a certain time frame. You can choose the time frame that you want. You can choose the amount of money that you want to save on a monthly basis. That will help you open up a new account. That will help you increase your credit age, and that will help you increase your on-time payment history, which we have discussed. That is 35% of your credit report. It is a major part of your credit report that will help you build your credit. And also, I did forget to mention with Self Lender, once that time frame is up, the account will unlock automatically, and they'll deposit that money back into the account that they were withdrawing it from. Please also be aware that there is a APR interest rate on that, because you are using a third-party platform, so they're going to get their fee as well. But you will automatically get that money back after your term is up. I had totally forgot about that. My term was coming up when I had my Self Lender, and I just opened my bank account one day. I was like, what is this extra money in here? Self Lender had opened my account. My term was up. They put the money back into my account. So selflender.com, be sure to check it out. Start saving your money. Start being able to have a plan. Do your research and see what the goals are that you want to obtain for yourself and your family. and know that you are capable of doing it. All it takes is some information. I'm here to share what I know. If you have further questions, you know how to reach me. I thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you 1,000 times more for joining me for another episode of WWDJ, where we talk growth and wellness with Demetrea Janay. I hope you have a great, great week. And until next time, shalom.